In Austin, Texas, 2004, Robert Blake died. Together with James MOUTON, Blake developed the managerial grid model in 1954, which was based on field research. This managerial grid model is still used in organization across the globe in issues related to strategic leadership. So next is James MOUTON. She is known as primarily for development of managerial grid, which she developed with Robert Blake. In 1950, Jane obtained her bachelor degree in mathematics from the University of Texas in the United States. A year later, Jane obtained her master's degree from the University of Florida, and then she returned to the University of Texas for her doctoral research and obtained her PhD in 1957. The University of Texas provides Jane with many opportunities. She was a former student of Robert Blake, and at that time she was already fascinated by organizational management. And then after she had obtained her PhD, she worked as a researcher at University of Texas, and then a behavioral scientist, and a lecturer, and finally as an assistant professor in the field of psychology. She also involved in scientific method incorporated, and until 1981. She held different positions within this company, including the position of vice president. And at that time, James developed the theory and the practical research with respect to the managerial grid model together with Robert Blake in 1987, Jane MOUTON died. So basically, the managerial grid itself was developed by Robert Blake and James MOUTON, who were hired as consultant by Exxon. The creation of the managerial grid was especially used to develop a method that could be used as a median between McGregor Theory X and Theory Y at employee level.
My name is Yahya and my entry number is 254583. I will present definitions of management theory. Blake and MOUTON present the managerial grid as a tool to help managers learn and identify the assumptions they make as they attempt to work with and through others. They did so by defining two primary concerns for a manager, that is concern for people and concern for productions, sometimes referred to as concern for tasks. In addition, the managerial grid identifies 5 leadership styles based on 2 behavioral dimensions. Firstly, impoverished management, low result, low people. The manager with this leadership style exert minimum efforts to get the work done by the subordinates. They have minimal concern for both the people and production, and they function merely to preserve their jobs and seniority. Therefore, the disharmony, dissatisfaction, disorganization arises within the organization. This is an effective management style in which an indifferent manager largely avoid managing with their people or the needs of the job at hand. Such manager reason wrongly that if you don't do much, little can go wrong and you would not get blamed. The Peter principle suggests manager runs to their level of incompetence, and here is the style we may see as a result. This style is only suitable as calculated decision to be hand off and delegate to a highly capable and strongly The employees are naturally unmotivated and dislike working. A manager who believes people are self-motivated and happy to work is said to follow theory Y. Okay, thirdly, middle of the road management. Medium result, medium people. A middle of the road or status quo manager tries to balance results and people, but this strategy is not as effective as it may sound. Through continual compromise, he fails to inspire high performance and also fails to meet people's needs fully. The result is that his team will likely deliver only mediocre performance. This is a compromise, and like all compromises, it is characterized as much by what the manager give up as by what they put in. A little attention to tasks and a bit of concern for people sounds like balance, but it also reflects a level of impoverishment, not much concern for either. This is neither an inspiring nor developmental approach to management and can only be effective where the team itself can meet the leadership deficits it leaves behind. Okay, fourthly, country club management. Hype people, low results. The country club or accommodating style of manager is most concerned about her team members' needs and feelings. She assumes that as long as they are happy and secure, they will work hard. What tends to be the result is work environment that is very relaxed and fun, but where productivity suffer because there is a lack of directions and control. Okay, fifthly, team management, high production, high people. According to the Bpmn model, team management is the most effective leadership style. It reflects a leader who is passionate about his work and who does the best he can for the people he works with. Team or sound managers commit to their organization's goals and missions, motivate the people who report to them, and work hard to get people to stretch themselves to deliver great results. But at the same time, they are inspiring figures who look after their teams. Sometimes led by a team manager feels respected and empowered and is committed to achieving her goals. The model adding to additional style. First, opportunistic management. Some managers are highly opportunistic and are prepared to exploit any situations and manipulate their people to do so. Second, paternalistic management. The loaded label represents a flip-flop between accommodating country club management and dictatorial produce or parish management. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Karthikeyan Krishnan. My metric number is 255520. Okay, my part is application method of management theory. So today I'm going to explain about how to use the Blake and MOUTON managerial style. They are divided to 3 steps. So step 1 is identify your leadership style. Okay, how are you going to identify your leadership style? Let me explain to you. Okay, the first thing that you have to do is list last few initiatives you worked on as a leader and score your concern for people or production. So here I have to mention that there are main 2 concerns in Blake and MOUTON managerial style. The one is people, concern for people, and another one is concern for production. Okay, then place your score on the grid. Based on the combination score, you can identify your management style. So step 2 is identify areas for improvement. Look at your current approach and think about whether your style suits the situation you are in. So implementing strategies that can help you develop your leadership style to balance both task and people-oriented approaches. Implemented strategies that can be any strategies which is taken by a leader to achieve their goals and company targets by balance in the both task, which is task and people oriented approaches. Step 3 is determine the context. Blake and MOUTON managers stated that team management style is most effective approaches and contextualize your grid position based on the situation that which area needs more attention. For example, if the leader focus on task oriented, means the leader will be more focused on production side. So another is if the leader is more focused on people's oriented, means the leader will be maintain a good relationship with the employees and maintain creating a good environment, working environment to make their employees feel comfortable. Okay. The next one is advantages of the Blake MOUTON managerial grid. Okay, here we can see it can help leaders to understand their natural leadership style. By using Blake and MOUTON managerial grid, so they can analyze their natural leadership style, can analyze their best management style also through the technique known as grid training. There are two axes in their grid, managerial grid, which is one axis it's concern for people and another one is concern for tasks. So it helps leaders to identify how they stand with respect to their concern for production and people. So by this, the leaders can learn how to maintain their respect and the same time balance their concern in both sectors, which is production and task. So leaders can also create a personal development plan to progress towards the team management style. For example, they can develop their communication skill and learn to maintain a good relationship with their employees, and also creating a good and working environment to make their employees feel comfortable and to achieve their company goals and targets. Thank you.
For the criticism of the managerial theory, there are three aspects that will not be considered by the scholars. Okay, the first one is this managerial grid was disregard the significance of the internal and external limits, scenario, and the context, which means the nature of the internal and external limits will affect the working process, and it also will ignore the importance of the internal and external limits. The second one is there are some aspects of the leadership that can be covered but are not, which means it's failed to pay attention to the issues and the scenarios they may arise of different kinds of opinions and ideas are presented. The third one is emphasize on adding the manager to reach an individual leadership style that suit their concern for people, thus based on the responses. The Blake and MOUTON's managerial grid model was one of the most influential management models to appear in 1960s. It also provides foundation for even a complex contingent approach to leadership. Okay, now you all can see the guide. Okay, and I will explain more about the guide and the skills. Okay, for the scale 109, the country club style leadership with high people and low production. Okay, in this style is more concerned about the needs and the feelings of the member of his or her team. Okay. For example, in this environment, the relationship-oriented manager has a high concern for people, but a low concern for production. Okay, like the manager will pay much attention to the security and comfort of the employees, and he hopes that this will increase the performance. He is almost incapable of employing the more punitive, coercive, and legitimate powers, so the organization will end up to be a friendly atmosphere, but not necessarily very productive. The defining character of this style is not to seek the best position for both production and people, but to find the position that can be between both people about the halfway. So when dealing with the subordinates, the 5-5 scales manager prefer relaxed and shared conversation. This allows him to slay popularity, and group membership is also enjoyed as community allow the supervisor to separate the responsibility for the decision making. For the scale of 9-9, team leadership, high production and high people. The manager pay high concern for both people and the production. Motivation is high. This soft style is based on the proposition of the theory Y. Douglas MC Greco. The manager encourages teamwork and commitment among employees. This style emphasizes making employees feel a part of the company family and involving them in understanding the organizational purpose and determining the production needs. So this method relies heavily on making employees feel that they are constitutive parts of the company, and this will result the team environment organization based on the trust and respect, which lead to high satisfaction and motivation as a result of high production. So in 9 skills, the system of the manager strives for sound and imaginative opinion, letting others partake in decision making process. So he is not afraid to use ideas and that are different from his own, but rather focus on the value of the ideas. The guide does not entirely address the complexity of which leadership style is the best. Black and MOUTON strongly argue that style 9-9 scale is the most effective management style because it's improved productivity and cause high employee satisfaction.
The managerial grid itself. The development of the managerial grid was particularly used to establish a methodology that could be used at employee level as a median between theory X and theory Y of McGregor. It is based on two aspects of action that affect individuals and concern for the outcome. This actually proved that it can lead to deficient and reduced result by placing too much focus on one area concerning others. This framework concludes 5 leadership skills such as impoverished management, produce or parish management, middle of the road management, country club management, and team management. All these leadership skills have its own benefit to whom to apply it at management system. How to apply this management theory is by identify first which management style that's suitable, then identify area for leadership development, and then consider skill between you and becoming a team leader, and last step is contextualizing your grid position based on the situation. In reality, the management grid helps a lot to design a leadership style according to the organization needs and specification. Um, it impacts the efficiency and productivity of the staff drastically, which in turn affect the workplace environment. Managerial grid has its own pros and cons. In order to get better result and improve efficiency, the leader or the boss typically use this grid. This also helps to assess where they can concern by using and questioning. However, since various kind of viewpoints and proposals are raised, this model struggle to pay attention to the situation that can occur. So